Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to another edition of Crush Lusher Television. All right, we're doing more related race problems. Now we're going to do it in a free response. All right, here we go. We got a cylinder that's filled with some liquid. It's a coffee pot, actually. A coffee pot has the shape of a cylinder with radius 5, okay? As shown in the figure above. Let H be the depth of the coffee in the pot. So here's the coffee. There's H. Measured in inches, okay? Where H is a function of time, T measured in seconds. The volume V of the coffee in the pot changes at a rate of -5 pi radical H cubic inch per second. So that's dV dt. So I wrote that right here. Here's my nice picture, love it. And then here's dV dt. So that's how the volume is changing over time. So I wrote that down right there. For the information they give me, volume equals pi r squared h. Good, so they give it to you this time. Thank you very little. All right, so you are going to pause the video, see if you can knock these out. Yeah, the answers are right here, but try not to look at them, all right? This is attached to the PDF. This is 2000, number 5. See if you can get A, B, and C. B is worth a lot of points, by the way. Ooh, it's worth 5 points. Yeah, really important, 5 out of 9. You get that, you're on your way to 5. All right, let's do it. After you pause the video, let's see if you got them. All right, first thing, show that dH dt is negative radical h over 5. So I have to show this. So it gives me the answer. I got to get there with the given information. So dH dt, that's going to be the derivative of h in terms of time. So this is where I need to be at, because it also gives me dV dt. But it also gives me, so we're talking about just the coffee. If this is 5, this is also 5. Because the radius stays the same because it's just a cylinder. So the volume is actually pi 5 squared h. And so the volume is 25 pi h. So you can just plug that right in. So now when I find the derivative of this in terms of time, find the rate of change in terms of time, now I only have 2 variables. And I know I'm going to get dH dt. So we're going to be good. So here we go. So the derivative of this is d1 dV dt. The derivative of 25 pi h, so like 25h is just 25, or 25 pi h is just going to be 25 pi. Times derivative of the inside, derivative of h is dH. Cool. So this is what we're solving for, right? Because that's what we need to do. We need to make it look like this. So dV dt is this fun stuff right there. So that's going to go whoop, right there. So I'm going to go -5 pi radical t equals 25 pi dH dt. Cool. So solving for dH dt divided by 25 pi. Pi divided by pi is 1, and then -5 divided by 25, divide that by 5, and you get negative radical t over 5 equals dH dt. Boom, and that looks like this. Sorry, h, my bad, this is h inside here. Or is it t? My bad, I forget. What did I do? What did I do? It should be h, yeah. So, oh, that's radical h. That's where I messed up. I just didn't copy down the problem right. My bad. This is radical h. Sorry. Radical h, radical h, radical h. Cool. So sometimes when it doesn't look fun, so that's why I give you the answer. When it looks funny, you can go and back and fix it like that. Sometimes you can catch yourself like I did just there. So we good right there. So I just messed up with the variable and I copied it down. I gotta be more careful next time. All right, B. This is worth, that was worth 3 points. This is worth 5 points. All right, H. At time 0, the height is 17 inches. So 17 inches of coffee when we start. We know dH dt is this. It gives you that. And so you want to find h of t. So you're actually going from the derivative to the actual function. So that means you need to do the integral of this. So this is like an X-Men wise guys kind of problem. So dH dt, this is B right here, equals negative radical h over 5. Okay, so I'm going to get h guys and t's guys together because I need to find the antiderivative of all of this. So I need to separate first. Separate, integrate. Solve for c, solve some more. You know how to do it. Those are the steps. So I'm going to times dt on both sides. So dh equals negative radical h over 5 dt. Okay. So this right here, this h has got to go here with h guys. So I'm going to multiply by 1 over radical h. 1 over radical h. And we know that radical h divided by radical h is 1. There we go, bop bop. And so what am I left with here? So I got dh divided by radical h over here, if you multiply these two together, equals, and this is 1, right? Because negative h divided by negative h is 1, so you're going to put 1 here. That's 1. So it's negative 1/5 dt. There's no t's, guys. There's just this constant right here, so I'm going to leave that there. I could put it over here, but it's here, so I'm going to leave it. We good. Okay, so we separated. That's a point, and then we're going to integrate. Integrate. So before I integrate, this right here off to the side, that's h to the negative 1/2 power, isn't it? Since it's negative, it goes to the denominator, and it's 1/2 because radical and a half power is the same thing. So I need to do the inverse chain rule. So I need to add 1. So I'm going to add 2 over 2, which is the same as 1. And that's 1/2, right? So that's 1/2. And then you divide by the new exponent, which is a half. When you divide by a half, it's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, which is 2 over 1. When you divide by a fraction, you multiply by its reciprocal. So this over here is going to be 2h to the 1/2. 2 over 1, right? Equals the derivative of a constant, derivative of 2, antiderivative of 2 is 2x or 2t. The antiderivative of negative 1 over 5 is negative 1 over 5t. Plus what? Oh yeah, c. Plus c. Don't forget that, the constant. So I have 2 radical h equals negative 1/5 t plus c. Okay, so now we got to get c. And that's where this initial condition comes. So when time equals 0, the height was 17. So 2 radical 17 equals negative 1/5 times 0 plus c. So negative 1/5 times 0 is 0, so c is just this. So 2 radical 17 equals c. All right, doing good. Okay, so now let's go back to our equation right here. So now we're back here. We got c now. So it's 2 radical h equals negative 1/5 t plus 2 radical 17. All right, what am I going to do now? I need to solve for h, last step. Divide by 2, and I'm just dividing all these by 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. That's 1. Negative 1/5 divided by 2. So negative 1/5 divided by 2 over 1 is times 1 over 2. Because you divide by 2, which means you multiply by the reciprocal. So that's negative 1/10. So radical h equals negative 1/10 t plus radical 17. Next, you have to get rid of the square. So we're going to square both sides. Boom. So h equals negative 1/10 t plus radical 17 squared. Boop. There you go. Give me my 5 points. There we go. We got it. Pot C. When is the coffee pot empty? So the coffee pot is empty when the height is 0, right? When this is down here, it's 0 when the height equals 0. So you got the height equation right here. This is why it's so important to get the previous parts right, so that you just use this to get the final answer. So part C is going to be the height is 0. So 0 equals this. So whenever this equals 0, that's when the coffee pot is empty. And you don't have to solve it because it's a free response. You can solve for t if you want, but we don't have to. There you go. So there's A, B, and C. Nice job. Redo any parts you didn't do right. Like I would redo part B if you didn't know how to do it to begin with and you looked at the video. See if you can go all the way and get this without looking at the final answer. And then you're good. Nice job, everybody. Take care.